Okay. And again, this has just a little bit of three-point perspective, so I've gone ahead and made this rectangle. This one in the back I'm not going to worry about. I'm not going to put that in, I'm just trying it for the composition. And then trying to locate these pieces. So even as you go from one drawing to traditional style onto the computer, you want to think of the similar things that cross over. In this case, these rounded corners that if you did this with the widget in the computer, you could actually place that in there. If you notice, all three of these panel sides go down to the vanishing point, down to the bottom. This goes to the left, this goes to the right. And when you take a look at where the handle is, it's approximately in the center, so you can still cross these diagonals and establish that center line. Okay, and then just below it is going to be this metal bracket, so I'm going to just extend that down here. And wrapping this around, all these pieces, cross contour lines, are helping with the form itself. And I'm just going to put a little edge down here at the bottom. And like I said, it's not really a tangent, they're not touching, but they're coming close to it. And then again, trying to find the center line for this piece to lower this down as a rectangular selection here. And building that part up. So that gives you the initial path. And again, as you take a look at your reference file, you can zoom into it to actually see what's happening to some of these images. So these buckles that come on here, these snaps, still based off of a rectangular shape that's kind of elevated. We'll talk about the 3D section, but all this goes to the vanishing point, so keeping it in line with this one, so if you can see that connected. Okay, and then you can kind of see how it's brought together there. And in this one, when you get to something this detailed, you can, if you're pretty confident of what the shape is, go ahead and heavy that line up. That'll give you everything that you need. And then the one that's in the back here almost goes off the edge. So just again, creating the rectangle, following the same rules of perspective to it. Here's the outside edge. Cleans that up. And then taking a look at this handle. Building it up. There's the angle to it. There's the roundness of it. And then the brackets. So it's kind of a, this is also on the same perspective part. Onto that piece. So again, once you get those initial parts in there, it makes it much easier. And you can zoom back out. You can kind of see the lip of this part. You can take your straight edge to place it in there. And here it has seams, so you can, just this technique of making that edge will make that seam pretty easily. So it brings that across. And again, if you heavy up these lines, you can always lose them in the shading. So here's the top of it. Here's this edge. You can stagger, make like a zigzag line to get that character, that piece coming across. And this one at the top. And hopefully you can see how the shading of this brings this extra line to it. It just helps that thin and thick line, and there's a little curve on some of these as you go over. And here's the overlapping part. So it's kind of a slight divot up at the top. But as you come down, you can see the rest of it. You can put some paper down here. This kind of arches out a little bit. And this is where you really want to concentrate on the contour line of the object. So let's see if we can take this metallic part. You can see a little bit of the seam, so here's where you can put one line down and go over top of it and stagnate the line. Creates that seam. Same on this side. And that just kind of builds the edge. The side panels, again, try to look for the contours. It comes, it buckles out here, straight. Like so. Gives you a much more guided assistance here. For the most part, you have the image pretty well lined out there. And then now just a matter, like I said, with the shading, think of it almost as a gradient. Going from dark to light. Trying to look at this front corner. Just building that piece. And even if you go over the drawing, like I said, you'll lose some of the line, but you can come back in and pick it up with the shading. And take a look at this overall piece. Just still got the red value, but you can see the highlights listed in here. Notice the difference between the metal and the red as far as the shading. Okay, shadow. And again, here's an example. Here's the outline. So just blending that in, finding that value that's right there. So there's kind of a little bit of a 3-point perspective sketch.